The football world woke up asking a simple question, one that no one could answer, for 13 years. How did that ball do that? Not players, not scientists, and when they finally found an answer, some still called it a miracle. At the 21st minute of the match, nothing suggested history. The score was stuck 0-0, a tough game, tense. Ronaldo goes down in midfield, foul given. Distance? More than 35 meters. Angle? Almost none. Roberto Carlos walks slowly toward the ball, places it on the ground, carefully, the valve facing him. A small detail, but nothing there was accidental. He steps back, further back, almost to the center circle. The French wall sets up calmly. Bartes adjusts his position, confident, because everyone was thinking the same thing. This ball is going wide. Roberto Carlos runs up, long strides, explosive. The strike is clean, violent. The ball leaves like a bullet. Straight toward the right side of the wall. No curve, no danger. French players relax, some even turn their heads. The ball looks doomed, headed for the stands or the goal line. But then, it changes direction. A sudden curve, almost aggressive. The ball comes back, cuts through the air, brushes the post, and goes in. The net ripples, silence for a split second. Then, disbelief. Bartes doesn't move, doesn't jump, doesn't react. He just watches because his brain was still trying to understand what his eyes had just seen. That same night, the BBC opens its broadcast with a question. It wasn't tactical analysis, it wasn't sports debate, it was almost philosophical. How did Roberto Carlos do that? The question spreads, turns into debate, and quickly leaves football. Physicists start watching the clip in slow motion, then super slow motion, then frame by frame. Some laugh, others shake their heads. One says, incredulous, I don't believe we'll ever see this again. Another is more direct, this shouldn't be possible. But that wasn't the real problem. The goal didn't just become a replay, it became a subject of study. Universities, laboratories, scientific papers, physicists from France, from England, from Brazil, all trying to answer the same question. Did that trajectory break the laws of physics? Or did it simply expose the limits of our understanding? For years, no one knew for sure. The moment became a ghost, always referenced, never fully explained, until 13 years later, something changed. A group of scientists decided to go beyond the video, beyond opinions. They started calculating, and what they discovered didn't diminish the goal. It made it even more absurd. Before the science, you need to understand the man. Roberto Carlos wasn't just a left back, he was a walking contradiction. A left back with striker numbers. It's 97 goals, 126 assists, explosive runs, shots that looked like punches. He changed the role of the modern fullback, forced the game to adapt to him. But there was something different, something no one could copy. Free kicks. It wasn't just power, it was precision. And that goal was the peak. Even so, Roberto Carlos himself always downplayed it. The goal was destiny, he used to say. But science doesn't accept destiny as an answer. The scientist finally reached a conclusion. It wasn't a miracle, it wasn't luck, it was the Magnus effect, a physical phenomenon that happens when an object spins while moving through the air. When he struck the ball, Roberto Carlos hit the lower right side. That made the ball spin violently, and then something invisible happened. On one side of the ball, the air fought against the spin, pressure increased. On the other side, the air moved with the spin, pressure decreased. That difference created a lateral force. The ball was pulled, bent, deflected. That's why it looked like it was going out, before coming back. But understanding the phenomenon doesn't mean being able to repeat it. Because here's the part almost no one notices. For that shot to work, everything had to be perfect. Wrong power? The ball goes wide. Wrong angle? Hits the wall. Too much distance? The ball drops before it gets there. In Roberto Carlos' shot, nothing was out of place. The ball travelled at nearly 100 kilometers an hour, over 33 meters. It curved so much that according to calculations, if gravity didn't exist, it would have kept curving, like a spiral, almost like a snail through the air. Gravity was the only thing that stopped the ball from doing something even stranger. After the explanation came the attempts. Players tried to recreate it, specific training sessions, calculated angles. All failed. Some came close, none were the same. Even goals influenced by the Magnus effect, like Petkovic's famous free kick in 2001, never reached the same level of improbability. Petkovic's goal almost became a scientific study. French physicists published detailed equations, trajectory, speed, curvature, but even they admit it. Roberto Carlos' goal is in a category of its own. Brazilian physicist Luiz Fontanari summed it up better than any formula. Even with the scientific explanation, I still don't fully believe what I saw. He called it a miracle, and that's coming from someone who understands every equation involved. Roberto Carlos himself admits, "I didn't expect that much curve, but I knew the ball would go in." Instinct, confidence, maybe madness. He believes one day someone will repeat it. It'll take time, but someone will. Science? Not so optimistic. One physicist was blunt. "I don't believe we'll ever see this again." Because that shot wasn't just a goal. It was a moment when football forced science to chase it. Roberto Carlos kept collecting titles, became a Real Madrid legend, a club ambassador, world champion in 2002, runner-up in 1998, 3 World Cups, more than 33 kick goals in his career, an absurd rate for a fullback. But none of that raises the same question. Because titles fade, statistics get broken, but that goal still challenges anyone who tries to fully explain it. And maybe that's the most fascinating part. Even with formulas, even with studies, there's something about that strike that escapes. As if football sometimes reminds the world that not everything fits into an equation. And if Roberto Carlos was the symbol of that, this Englishman was the opposite. Because while one challenged the laws of physics, the other challenged the unwritten rules of football. Over 2 meters tall, awkward, anything but elegant. And still, he won, he decided games, he made history. If you want to understand how this improbable phenomenon took over football, the next video is already waiting for you.